Do you guys know? Do you know what this is? Right answers only. The shark. A Greenland shark. Yeah. Look at him. He's a really cool guy. And you know what? He's the longest living vertebrate that we have. They live like 250 to 500 years. Isn't that insane? They were living during like the Columbus times. And you want to know what's even more insane? Like, these guys don't have the hard bony structures that like the typical sharks do that contain the growth rings, which usually help people determine like how old they are. So scientists pretty much had to figure out a different way. And it's like, huh? Some people might even know the growth rings from trees and stuff. Because with trees, you used to be able to... Well, you still can. You can, like, count how old they are based on that. Isn't that crazy? Dude. But, do you want to know how they figured out, like, how to age these guys? You want to know? Tissue samples? No. Bro, it's so crazy. How do we know their age? It's literally radiocarbon dating. What? How this works, basically, is we determine the innermost, like, freaking proteins in their eye lens. Their fucking eye lens! Their eyes don't degrade heavily like ours do. So, like, the core of their eyes stays the same throughout their entire life. Isn't that fucking insane? And scientists figured out we can determine their age by that. The most insane part is how that dates in with, like, the radiocarbon dating stuff. Do you guys know we used to do nuclear testing in the ocean during, like, the mid-1900s? And that caused a huge increase in radioactivity during, like, you know, that time period. And it left huge markers on all the animal life that was alive during that time. Basically, the way they determine how old they are, if the eyes have those markers, it means the shark was born after the nuclear testing. If it doesn't, it was born before. Now, most Greenland sharks do not have the radioactive markers present. Isn't that fucking insane? And then they took it a step further and they were like, wait, how do we determine, like, the actual age? So they did another big study about how they figure out that the Greenland sharks, how do I explain it? Like, basically they did a study on how they grow. So, like, they determined essentially that they grow roughly 1 centimeter per year. And then they took how long the sharks were, plus the radiocarbon dating, like, info. And they got that there are so many of those sharks that lived up to 500 years old. Like, what? And you want to know? You want to know the most insane thing, too? Their eyes are, like, riddled with parasites. I actually have a picture of what it looks like. Here you go. So, like, dude, their eyes are literally riddled with parasites. And even after all of that, they can still, like, keep the innermost part of their eye intact with, like, all the proteins and stuff. Isn't that crazy? Like, they got some supernatural stuff going on. And not only that, their eyesight is so poor because, again, they have, like, a ton of parasites in them, that they rely on their smell to, like, you know, be their guide for hunting. So these guys are basically hunting blind and living 500 years. What? That's crazy.